All right, so we just got done talking about one-step inequalities, and now we're going to talk about two-step equations, which is just one more step than a one-step equation, and we're going to talk about two-step inequalities, okay? So in talking about both of these, you're going to go about this the same way you would a one-step equation. You're going to try and isolate the x first, then you're going to get x all by itself. So looking at a two-step equation, you've got 5x plus 8 is equal to 43. All right? So I need to isolate this 5x all by itself. So I need to move this 8 over to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 8. So now I have 5x is equal to 43 minus 8, which is 35. So now that I have the 5x all by itself, I want to get x completely by itself. So I need to, since this is 5 times x, I need to divide by 5. So now I get x is equal to 7. All right? And if I substitute it back in, I'm going to get 35, because 5 times 7, plus 8, which is going to give me 43. Okay? Looking at number 2. X plus 7 over 2 is equal to 30. All right? So, x plus 7 over 2 is equal to 30. So, I need to isolate the x up top. So, I need to get rid of the 2 on the bottom. So, since this is divide by 2, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. So, now I'm going to be left with x plus 7 is equal to 60. So now that I've got this, I need to get x all by itself, so I need to move this 7 over to the other side. So I subtract both sides by 7, and I get x is equal to 53. If I substitute it back in, I would get 53 plus 7, which is 60, divided by 2, which is 30. Two-step inequalities. No different than what I was doing up above. The only difference is that instead of an equal sign here, you have a greater than or less than sign. But the way that you go about this is no different. Okay? So if I had r over 2 minus 6 is greater than 10, then I need to isolate the r over 2 by itself. So I need to move the 6 over to the other side. So adding 6 to both sides, it's going to give me r over 2 is greater than 16, because 10 plus 6 is 16. Now, I need to get r completely by itself, so since this is divided by 2, I need to multiply both sides by 2. So 2 is going to cancel out over here, leaving me with r, and then 16 times 2 is 32. That means that r is greater than 32. Now, the last one looks a little daunting, okay? It looks a little hard, but it's really not, okay? So, looking at this, you can go ahead, look at this right here, and you can go ahead and add that together. So if I add all those numbers together, I'm going to get 281. So now this, instead of being all these numbers, it's 281 plus x over 4 is greater than or equal to 90. So I need to get rid of this 4 on the bottom, so that way I can then isolate that x. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. So now I have 281 plus x is greater than or equal to 90 times 4, which is 360. So now that I've done that, I want to subtract 281 from both sides to get x all by itself. So if I subtract both sides by 281, I get x is greater than or equal to 360 minus 281 is 79. So x is greater than or equal to 79. All right? So the first thing that we needed to do was go ahead and add all those up, which gave me 281. Get rid of the 4, which gave me 360 on the right. Then subtract 281, which gave me x is greater than or equal to 79. All right? Try out the practice problems, see what questions you might have, and then we'll come in tomorrow and address those.